Hello, folks. Thank you for joining us. I'm Glenn Hughes with Texas Pictures, and here we are after the big premiere of episode 231. I was a little slow to get live today because, well, we had a little issue with the coffee machine, but all's good. All's good. So here we are. Got the coffee. All good. Yes, episode 231. Now there are a few episodes that we've created. I want to say five right now that haven't haven't been published for one reason or another. Some of them are waiting for uh, investigative related things. So there's a few that is in our count that aren't available. Nug Sandwich, hello, Glenn. Mod storytellers and chats. I just want to say I'm proud of anyone who chose one more day sober and proud of anyone trying to get sober. Me too. It's such a big deal. It's a victory every day, every minute. I will hang out if you don't mind. Thanks. Yeah. Oh, I get you because I said stand by. So we're just sorting out a little bit of issue here. Actually, the issue was with the coffee machine, but regardless. We are here now. I don't know if the storyteller. I don't know if the storyteller is with us at the moment or not. Sarah, are you here in the chat? Perhaps. So, hey, Fly Girl, glad you're here. I appreciate you being here. I'm 53, so I get it. You know, when I was 50, a statement like that had a lot more credibility than it does now that I'm 63. It's just a weird age thing. I'm not challenging your ability to get it, David. I'm just saying. To be 53 again. Ah, anyway. Hello, Candace. Thank you for joining us. Glad you're here. Always good to. Wow, drink. That was a little too much coffee. So, how about some feedback on the premiere? What did you guys think? What stood out to you about the story? It is longer than most of our stories, and that seemed to go over just fine with the audience. 52. Gee, I could still be the oldest person in the room. That's no good. Candace missed it. She'll watch it later. It is so, folks. Some of you who did see it, how about sharing some of the highlights, some of the moments that stood out to you? Yes, Austin, that's one. So sad. She said they stole items from his body. Yeah, he had. There was stuff missing. It was obviously missing things that, like jewelry. Uh, Actually, Bruno, time passes faster and faster because when you were 10 years old, a year was 1/10 of your life. Now, a year is a 50th of your life. So it goes faster and faster. Anyway, so Versa, thank you for joining us. Glad you're here. And there's Brad. Brad's older. Thanks, Brad. Taking one for the team there. Appreciate that. Always good to see you here. So it was one of the most touching, but missed the first part. Top five, in my opinion, but RIP to all who were lost. Hello, Mary. Glad to see you back here again. Yes, so the story, I feel like I don't know, maybe there's something about the longer ones that gives them a little bit of an extra something. Gives the audience a little more time to really get captivated, to get engrossed in to really get drawn into the story and absorbed into it. I see more retrospectives than perspectives, and it's cool. Okay, Bruno. I believe I get that. So, any other comments for those who missed it here? Candace, what are you crying about? The stealing things off of his body? Yeah. Okay. David, I enjoy the longer stories, but it may be an age thing also. Ah, it could be. I mean, there is certainly a short attention span element to younger generations, but younger generations still go to movies, still watch movies, and movies are very much a long format thing. And so maybe uh, maybe that's yeah. I can't imagine making the story much shorter and keeping all the key elements. The stealing of things and waiting to call police seemed like a setup. Yeah, it may have been stealing things off a dead body is a particularly gruesome kind of rotten to do that, to be in a place in your head where it's even okay to do that. What how do you how do you get there in your head? But definitely a complex story. Momager. Yeah. Yeah. Momager. I thought that was brilliant. Maybe I'm a little biased, but I think the comments are in some cases borderline and in a couple of instances downright rude. Well, yeah, Pat, they are. Yeah, there was a couple of people in the live event who I put in timeout. It's there is that's one of the tools that I have here to manage the the temper of the chat room is I can put people in timeout. Kind of weird. Doesn't happen often, but it did happen twice in this story. And that it happens now and then, and I think it's a little more likely with longer stories like this. Hello, Karen. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you joining us. I even noticed that some of the comments disappeared on my phone, but not the TV. Yeah, okay, that's some technology thing that is new to me. Maybe YouTube's television technology isn't as efficient as the computer playback, phone playback kind of technology, because phones aren't really meant to be. I'm sorry, TVs aren't really meant to be interacted with in that way, and phones and computers are designed for interactivity. So that could be part of it. All messages on live chat usually show all the messages. Top messages don't. All messages. The all messages, top chat. Some messages, such as potential spam, might live chat. All messages are visible. Okay. Yeah, I see that. I got that, Karen. But there is also I can let's see when I can when someone becomes difficult for whatever reason, I can report the message, I can remove the message, I can put the user in timeout. And if I do that, I get a pop-up that lets me choose 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 day. It's crazy. And I can also hide the user from the channel, meaning they can never comment on our channel ever again. It happens. So yeah, the chatting, the live chat thing. I noticed that on my phone when the commenter went into timeout, the message disappeared. Yeah, we do what we can, and so it's really been amazing to me the ridiculousness of what some people decide to comment on stories, live events. Way not so much. It's much more rare to get negative comments or stupid comments from on live events. It's much less common, but on but comments on published stories on the channel, those sometimes get a little ridiculous, and I do what I can to manage them. We get about 1,200 comments right now. We're getting about 1,200 comments a week, and I read them all. The comments can either be reviewed and deleted, or I can review them first. And so right now I am reviewing comments on Alexander's story, and it looks like way over. Okay. All right. Well, that was easy enough. I just went through and cleared up all the comments that have been held for Karen. Fly Girl, what'd I miss? Oh, okay. Lost track of all time. We'll play catch up and watch the video. Hello, everyone. Glad you took off Miss C's rude comment. Yeah. There's the way Yeah, I read them all. I read them all. We're averaging 1,200 a week or so, close to 5,000 a month, and and most of them, like the vast majority of them, are completely supportive kinds of comments, and then once in a while there'll be something that is ignorant, inaccurate, mean. The whole spirit of it is to be mean, or it is in one way or another attacking the storyteller. And the storytellers that are in the audience, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that there is nothing a commenter can tell a storyteller that they haven't already thought of themselves. And so anything like that always gets uh, anything like that always gets deleted. Sometimes the commenter gets they don't call it blocked. They call it hidden from the channel. They can still look at our content, but they can't comment on it anymore. And that's the way it goes. What else we got going on, David? Am I correct in my assumption that success stories get less views than the sad ones? Yeah, yeah, that's right. But the real beauty of the success stories, Carlos here, that's awesome. Uh, Everybody's story in the series is so important. Every story helps all the stories, and every story also represents a substantial amount of work after the interview. Every story gets somewhere between 5 and 8 hours of editing time between myself and usually another editor who makes the first pass and then pass makes the first pass, and then I go through and do some tweaks because I'm controlling like that, I guess. And so there is, by the time it gets onto YouTube, there's been a ton of work on it. So anyway, what was my point with that? Uh, so the comments, it baffles me how people will make such harsh comments they would never say to the storyteller in person, but here as keyboard warriors, where they don't have to face anyone, don't have to be don't have to deal with any repercussions. They're just acting out. That's crazy. So I figured who it was. David, you said that the success stories get less views than the sad ones. The addiction recovery videos get less views than the fentanyl poisoning stories. However, the addiction recovery videos are absolute gold for me, because when I'm going through all those comments, often I hear from someone who is new in recovery or been in recovery for a while or just wishing they were in recovery. And to be able to point them to that series that has 40 or so episodes right now and tell them, here's some good news. Here's some people who've been through what you're going through and found a light on the other side. That's gold to me. So those recovery success stories do get less views, but the Human trafficking stories on our channel are also stories of victory. They're stories of recovery. Sometimes addiction was involved in the trafficking story. Regardless of what it was, every trafficking story is told by the victim, and the victim is on a good path now. So that's a success story also. And those tend to get a lot of views. Partly maybe because they are more extreme. I just assume that going by glance, they are great stories to tell. Please don't get me wrong. No, I get you. I feel pretty confident that everybody in this conversation here understands the value of recovery stories and understands how our content is developed. So here's a message that I always like to put in front of everyone when we do one of these right here. It's so important that people remember this. All of those boxes are naloxone. Only one of the boxes says Narcan. The others do not, and the others are identically effective as Narcan. It's really just the difference between referring to something by a brand name or by what it is, calling a Kleenex, or calling a tissue a Kleenex. See, I did it. Or that kind of thing. That except with naloxone, there's a lot of boxes that have life-saving stuff, but they don't say Narcan. They're identical to Narcan. There is nothing about them that makes them inferior or superior, except maybe for Cloxado, which is a double dose in every nasal spray. With Cloxado, you get 8 milligrams of naloxone. With all of the others, you get 4 milligrams of naloxone. They are. They are. Thank you, Karen. Yeah. Yeah, I have 3 cases in the garage right now, and there's some in my car. Uh, there's oh yeah, so it's everywhere. That and here's the thing that maybe we should talk about as well is that Narcan does not. There's an expiration date on Narcan and all the others. Let's see what the date is on this. Expires January 2027. Here's the thing. Research indicates that naloxone, Narcan, or the others remains effective to the level of about 90%, even 10 years beyond the expiration date. So if something expires, don't throw it away. And, get in your head that eventually I need to replace this. But even when you do replace it, keep it and just have an extra one because it does not go bad. Not anywhere near the speed that's on the expiration date. That's according to data published in either the Journal of the American Medical Association or the New England Journal of Medicine. I forget which one. I think I think part of the purpose of expiration dates is to generate repeat sales, not just with this product, but with a lot of products. We have a machine in our county that dispenses free Narcan. That's cool. That's a big deal in more and more places now. There's more and more of that going on where there will be some sort of free naloxone or free Narcan vending solution, or just like a cabinet that you just take what you want. Yes, repeat sales. We have a risk prevention site that gives away free Narcan too. Yes, there's some resources online to get free naloxone. It's usually Narcan, but not always. Cloxato is getting more and more popular. Downside to Cloxato, according to some harm reduction folks, is that because it's a higher dose, it's more likely, they say, to put the user into withdrawal. Coming out of an opioid overdose is going to put the user in withdrawal regardless. 8 milligrams instead of 4 milligrams could make the withdrawal last longer. But that doesn't mean that Cloxato isn't a valid tool. Lots and lots of effective reversals of opioid overdoses involve applying multiple doses of naloxone, Narcan, 2 or 3 nasal sprayers. There's two in one box. And that's the same for all of the others on the graphic that I showed you before, right here. All of these have 2 doses in one box. Opiate withdrawal will not kill you 98% of the time, in my opinion. Yeah, that's the thing is, on the one hand, if it puts them into withdrawal, oh, darn, does that mean that you should have let him die instead of giving him Cloxato? That's kind of how some of the posts that I've seen by harm reduction people on social media come across as. Lots of times, I went on a ride along to an overdose response when I was in Anchorage, and the EMTs gave the victim 3 doses of Narcan brand naloxone. 3 up the nose things. 3. That's Cloxato and a half. So the whole argument about throwing them into withdrawal, yeah, it creates a new problem when they go into withdrawal. But there's no data that I have seen that explains explains if the withdrawal is more severe if there's 8 milligrams of naloxone instead of 4. The catch here is that naloxone or Narcan, it wears off, and it can wear off before the opioid that caused the overdose does, and the victim can re-overdose without using again. At episode 100, Wade Green's story is an excellent example of how that can happen. It's so important that when you revive someone with naloxone, they have to go to the hospital regardless of how they feel when they're revived, because the naloxone, the Narcan, can wear off before the opioid does. And then they're back in an overdose. Okay, let's see what I've missed here. Thanks for the information about the expiration dates. Harm reduction, I mistakenly put risk. Thanks for correcting that, Glenn. Sure. David, well, opiate, what's wrong? Okay, we talked about that. Compared to booze or benzos. All right. All right. So here's a weird thing about alcohol addiction that growing up in school, I always heard about how withdrawal from alcohol can be fatal. And then I was working on this project about synthetic cannabinoids where I was interviewing homeless people who were alcoholics who told me once I started smoking spice, K2, whatever, once I started smoking synthetic cannabinoids, I quit drinking. How's that work? If there's a physical dependency that is life threatening, why were they able to do that? That puzzled me. So I started presenting that question to addiction recovery people, and I could never find a real good answer. But I had at least four. Yeah, at least four people who were living on the street who claimed that they quit drinking because spice was a suitable replacement. I don't know. It was confusing to me. That would have been in 2016 or so. Anyway, so I went off on a tangent. I came off 5 years of methadone and 2 milligrams of Xanax a day for 3 years, every day in county jail. So I hear about that now and then, that county jail or custody incarceration in general can be a pathway to sobriety, that it can be a way to detox in a somewhat controlled environment where you're provided for and looked after a bit. So I don't know. David, you still have nightmares of that experience. Austin, I don't understand the danger of withdrawal, to be honest. Would that only be dangerous for someone who is in very bad health? Well, the danger, the harm reduction angle or the danger of withdrawal, there could be a little bit of a danger to the person who administered the dose. I have seen presentations about how to administer naloxone where the speaker talks about how when the person comes to, they're going to be immediately in withdrawal. And so they are probably not going to be in a good mood and they might be aggressive. So there's a little bit of a danger toward the people around the person who is revived. Aside from that, being in withdrawal creates this motive to use again, to fix the withdrawal, and to use again quickly. And that creates another level of danger for the user, because if they just overdosed and they are compounding what might still be in their system while part of the effect is being blocked by naloxone, Then as the naloxone wears off, there can be very tragic consequences. Okay, let me see where I'm at. Austin, benzo and alcohol withdrawal can kill you. Opioid only withdrawal isn't fatal, but it can have a person so dehydrated or malnourished that those two can kill you. Technically, not the opiates. Well, thank you, Brenda. That sounds valid. I don't, I don't know what's going on. Sorry, phone. David, I drank heavy for 20 years. Real weed never helped my booze craving or withdrawal. Yeah, that that seems that seems like that's how it would work. But hmm, but these people that I talked to, it was a kind of a consistent thing. I asked the police officer that I was with. There's a whole other story in that too. It was a ride along, except it was bicycles. We were on bicycles. Me and the cop. They gave me a bike to ride. I had a backpack with a bunch of gear on it. Yeah, it was cool. It was a good adventure. Okay, so when you stop fighting against thing above you, that's the time you are free. Certain withdrawals can cause seizures. It depends on the substance and how it affects the body. And certainly, I would think how large of a dose that you were dependent upon. Austin, they're all just pissed at you and wanting more drugs. That's all. Well, yeah, and harm reduction folks look at that as an important. As the problem is when they're pissed at you and they want more drugs, they're motivated to do things that are more dangerous than usual. Austin, I'm not sure any person addicted to opiates can be considered healthy. I don't know, probably so. Probably early in their addiction, they're thin still, they're healthy looking. Maybe. Yeah, I never tried spice. I quit weed in 2008, booze in 2003. Good job, David. So, what kind of folks is in? What kind of folks? Yeah, I've done this before. What kind of questions do any of you folks have for me? Anything you'd like to ask? We do have this cannabis induced psychosis storytelling summit coming up in Denver that has drawn some real critical comments from some of our audience. That's kind of entertaining. Well, that was weird. Don't know what happened there, but okay. Cameron did some sort of peculiar thing. Kind of entertaining. Yeah, yeah. About the some of the comments on the post about the post about cannabis induced psychosis. Yeah, some of the comments are hello, Julie. Glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. It's going to be fun to be in this group when we publish your story, Julie. That'll be a kick because people here know you. Some people are very defensive about their weed. Holy cow, really? Some people are very defensive about their. Yes, yes, they are. It's hilarious. I mean, sorry, that's that's not that's not the right spirit. But I can tell you, if I go and find the post, here we go, and it's got 94 thumbs up. This is just a post. It's not it's not a story. It's not a video. It's not any content like that. It is just a graphic and a post. I can probably show it to you, I think, if I do this. And window, how about that? There it is. And so there it is. And I, that's the whole thing. And so the responses that that came from that, uh, one person said just BS. Another person said it was extremely short sighted for us to be being involved with this, I suppose. Uh, Another person said everything's bigger in Texas, even the fear mongers, which I guess is us, because we're doing this summit. The reason we're doing this summit is because we were asked to, we were invited to, just like all of the storytelling summits that we've done all over the country. They all happen because someone asked us to. Here's all the places that we've been. And this isn't even all the places that we've been. There should be 3 more stars in northern Florida. And so these are the places that we have been in the last 18 months or so. And holy cow. So anyway, so let me share some of these other wonderful comments that we got. BS. Leave it to Texas to keep pushing the old reefer madness conspiracy created by Democrats. I just want to tell you, thank you for your platform. Okay, yeah, that's not funny. Legalize. Here's a good one. Legalize marijuana! Exclamation point. This is ridiculous. It's not a dangerous drug. I would go insane if I didn't smoke. That person is not a doctor. What did I miss? Who's the person they're referring to about? Well, thank you, Sharil. Yeah. All right. So now I feel like I should just really work the voice more. Okay, I'll stop that. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's very nice. The I'd go insane without pot person. Yeah, that's and to be fair, there's more to it. But the initial post The initial post was saying I would go insane if I didn't smoke, which, if you take out if I didn't, they're saying I'd go insane if I didn't have weed. The same would be true for opioid users or cocaine users or crack users, meth users, whatever. But that's what addiction sounds like. I'd go insane if I didn't have it. It's that fear of not having it that can get people worked up. Uh, to which I responded, perhaps it would make more sense to hold this kind of comment until we've published at least one story. And someone else commented right after me that said the pothead army is very protective of their precious pocket salad, which I thought was kind of funny. And then I said, I quoted this person and said, "You're saying that you're dependent on weed to maintain. You realize the addicts say exactly the same thing about whatever drug they're using too, right?" And the poster responded and gave a lot more detail and made it make a lot more sense. Well, when you need it because of seizures, it's definitely something I'm protective of. I fully support this channel and everything it stands for. I've been through hell and back with drugs. I've been sober from all substances except THC for 16 years. I'm also from a state that has legal dispensaries, so I have different beliefs on this matter. Good response. This person also said, I would have a lot of seizures if I didn't use. That would make me insane. I fully support the channel. And so after a little bit of exchange, the content got corrected. Hello, Joan. Thank you for joining us. The majority of illegal substances are laced with fentanyl, and you can't be sure how much it's laced with. Yazzer, I love my coffee. Did I miss discussion of coffee? What happened? I once had a mindset. It was a moral, it's moral, a mental addiction. Mindset makes a huge difference for sure. Coffee is an underrated addiction once you're hooked. Ah, there we go. I don't even think it's heroin anymore. It's just fentanyl. Yeah, that's right, Shereel. If on the on the chance I'm saying that right, that's correct. It usually is not heroin. There's no heroin. It's just a binder, just baking soda or whatever, and fentanyl, or some heroin, and the rest is fentanyl. Fentanyl is being used as an extender. Yeah, coffee's awesome. So when you say you love coffee, do you mean coffee or do you mean some sort of milkshake that has coffee as an ingredient? Someone asked if dispensaries test for fentanyl. I don't know either. I know that there is a testing process to validate the products that are sold in dispensaries, but enforcement of that process, it fluctuates, and so I don't know how trustworthy it is. I am not trying to make people afraid of products at a valid store. I just I don't know. I don't know if they test specifically for fentanyl. The cannabis induced psychosis stories that we're going to be shooting in Denver in June are not about cannabis being tainted or laced with fentanyl. It's about cannabis induced psychosis. Brenda, thank goodness I don't have to fight a coffee addiction too. I have, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 cups of coffee a day, and I'm not fighting an addiction. I'm not fighting it at all. But all the coffee I fix is half calf. I have a grinder. I mix decaf beans with dark roast beans. Dark roast is also has less caffeine. So it's not, if I don't get coffee, it doesn't really have an impact on me. I quit fighting and gave up. You mean, Pat? Do you mean quit fighting the coffee thing and gave up? Shariel, I know someone who is on the program and their toxicology test came back fentanyl, no trace of heroin. I've had countless old friends die from supposed fentanyl laced heroin. One cup in the morning, one in the afternoon, one at night, at least 20 ounces, 20-ounce cups. Okay. That's a 20-ounce cup is 2 cups, Pat. Almost 3 cups. So, yeah. But it's all about perception. In your comment before, you said, I quit fighting and gave up. That is not the way to say it. The way to say it is, I embrace my coffee. I embrace my coffee. Don't call it giving up. Colorado's Colorado's dispensary model kind of encourages people to buy large amounts of cheap products. Not sure I can explain it, but their system is very different from a medical marijuana model. That's interesting. Julie I had a pinched nerve a few years back, and the doctor wouldn't prescribe a painkiller without a urine test. I told her to stick her urine test where the sun don't shine. I had to go to the dispensary. Yeah, that seems like a valid solution. I slow drip my coffee all day long, so it's actually probably a total of 3 or 4 cups all day. Black coffee. Yeah, that's coffee. Black coffee. That's coffee. This this heavy cream and sugar stuff that you get at Starbucks, that's not coffee. That's a milkshake, or that's some sort of, I don't know what. But calling it coffee is brilliant from a marketing perspective. It's a brilliant thing for Starbucks to do, or whoever. I embrace giving up the fight and surrendering to the cup of coffee. All right, Pat, that still sounds like a little bit better. In my opinion, heroin is mostly in the UK and Europe because of the trafficking connections there to the Middle East. Maybe. I don't know. There's a few channel followers that we hear from on a regular basis that are in the UK or in Europe. And what they say is, for the most part, they do not see uh, sorry, reading the message. Got to stay on top of stuff. It's crazy. In my opinion, heroin and yeah, I think that's probably right. That fentanyl hasn't made it into Europe from what I've been told, from what I've heard uh, from people that are there. Julie says lots of fraud here in Arizona. No chain of custody. LabCorp has been sued. Billing for false, unrequired urine and lab testing. Well, it's huh. Well, that's kind of juicy, Julie. Maybe cartel connections don't cover Western Europe yet. That could be. Maybe. All right. So here's the thing I'm noticing is the heart thing. See, I'm firing off some hearts here right now. I Is it just me, or during the premiere was that thing gone? I didn't see it in the chat during the premiere. I don't know why fentanyl is not common in Europe, but I know that it's there. All right, fine. I didn't see it. I looked for it and I couldn't find it. Must have been some issue with my system, I guess. So cocaine comes from Colombia and Bolivia, passing throughout Brazil. Heroin comes from Morocco. Fentanyl comes from China, using Mexico cartels. Well, there's a good summary right there. Fentanyl is also being made domestically. There is a reason states have started making pill presses illegal. It's because that's what's happening. That there are local labs with pill presses with people making counterfeit pills that contain fentanyl in their basement, in their garage, in their living room, wherever. So while you guys are here, I want to share with you this graphic because I want you to know it's always. I'm doing this now because I like to reinforce this message a lot. You're always welcome to contact me at info@texas-pictures.com. You can find me on Facebook. We are on TikTok, and our website is on the list now. We've had this graphic for a while, but I just had the realization that our website wasn't on there, and so I put it on there. And on our website, you will find links to different information and a link to our merchandise store that has t-shirts and fentanyl awareness with fentanyl awareness graphics on it, t-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, coffee mugs like the one that I have, and stuff like that. So I just wanted to share that with you guys again. That's where it came in a little hot there. I don't know. All the options send up black circles. Where are you at? What do you mean? All the options. When I do the heart thing, it shows up as black blobs in a video. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, I think some issues are going on. There's a chat help on YouTube that is just for creators, and I wasn't able to get it to work today. I was going to try to ask someone why our store is no longer showing up on our channel, and I couldn't get it to work. And so we do have a link to our store. It's a spring store. You can get a coffee mug like this. This is pretty sweet, right? Just stories that matter. That's us. So, and there's also a coffee mug that has our fentanyl awareness graphic. We have a fentanyl awareness graphic that is a Python. The idea behind it is to show that fentanyl strikes without warning. Yes, Karen, I am seeing the hearts. It seems to be working here, but I didn't see the option of doing hearts during the premiere. So we are in the process of developing another store that, I mean, our store doesn't get a lot of attention, but it is cool. It is so cool to me when someone wants to have a T-shirt that's got our logo on it, or a coffee mug that promotes us, or fentanyl awareness coffee mug, or whatever. So I can, in fact, I could probably show you guys a little bit of the store. Maybe just see if I can do that here, and we'll see how this goes. All right. So let me see if I can let you see the store. All right, it is. So here is there's the coffee mug that I have, and here's the fentanyl awareness coffee mug. There's a fentanyl awareness T-shirt using the Python graphic, sweatshirts, hoodies, another coffee mug that is white on the inside instead of black, and this shirt with a simple stories that matter message. Yeah, I think we're going to redesign that and put the stories that matter message across the center of it, much like we do with the storyteller T-shirts that we give to our uh, the storyteller T-shirts that we give to our storytellers. Black screen. Okay, fine. Well, I tried. I don't know why it didn't work. Let me see what if I'll try it one more time, and I will. Why is there two of these? We'll just do the window then. Okay. All right. Now that kind of works, right? So here it is. Here's the mug. Stories that matter. One of the T-shirts. It's got our logo on the front, and it's got the Python graphic on the back. Here's another one. Uh, Hoodie, sweatshirt. Graphic looks a little small on the back on that one. And then this one, this is the Stories That Matter T-shirt that's on the front. I think we need to redesign that so that there's one on the back and something smaller on the front. And this coffee mug, this one is less expensive than the one that I have here, but it's white on the inside, and mine's black on the inside, and somehow this stays way clean. It never has coffee stains. It's awesome. Haven't washed it in probably months, and it's just fine. And somehow I don't think the white mug would do that. All right, so that's enough of that. We will get back to real world here, and here I am again. So the store, there's a link to the store on our on the homepage on our website, and I can also share the link here. There's a link that'll take you to our merchandise. Feel free. Okay, let me see what kind of comments I've been missing here. Black screen, black screen. All right, I've always updated my YouTube app too. Nothing fixes it. Yeah. Can't see the merge. Lexotan helps you rehab from depression, but transforms you into a robot. Lexotan, I don't know anything about that. David, nobody needs to feel obligated to be a member. You guys are welcome to be members. And we certainly appreciate members a lot, but we appreciate everyone else too. And and just by watching, you help us. Just by clicking the thumbs up and making comments on the stories, all of those things help us. So we appreciate you all, and and uh, very grateful for you. Okay, Julie says, I wear my shirt. Yeah, it's the wrong kind of wear, but it's okay. I'm sure it's just a speech to text or whatever. But anyway, I was asked if I was in the film industry. The person asking, father was a cop, a definite conversation starter. That's cool. I keep thinking one day I'm going to see one somewhere on the street. Hasn't happened yet, but there has been a couple of times on Facebook when I have looked at, just the normal feed that I get on Facebook, and there'll be some picture, and somewhere in the picture is someone wearing one of the shirts, and that's way cool. It just makes me feel good. All right. David, I agree. Matt should be short term only. Unfortunately, doctors are prescribing it and even upping the dose for life. Absolutely insane. So that kind of behavior is part of why there is so many restrictions on doctors for prescribing painkillers. Right? That's exactly what happened with painkillers, and that led to restrictions that people who have legitimate need for pain medication have to jump through all these extra hoops because of doctors who did that kind of stuff. It is insane. Hmm. So, what other questions do you guys? 120 milligrams is the highest dose my mat gives, and that is too much, in my opinion. Hmm. Hmm. Sorry. So, what other kind of questions do you guys have for me? Any questions about the series or what's coming up or any of that? It looks like we're going to be in. It looks like we're going to be in Wichita before we're in Denver. So it'll be Wichita, then Denver, and I believe there's someone in the group. We're going to try to time our journey to go through Oklahoma at Brenda. Is that you? That's you, right? And a couple of you others that we're going to be. I look forward to your future work. Holy cow, so do I. I do. I am living the dream getting to do this. I meet so many wonderful people. Gee, Karen, no, I didn't figure out what kind of dogs I have because I don't care. I have nice dogs. That's what they are to me. But anyway, so here's the thing: 3 days, April 21st is the 18th anniversary of Texas Pictures, April 21st. And so we may do something here in Houston. I don't know if any of you guys are in Houston, but we'll probably have some sort of thing at a restaurant out the Gulf Freeway, somewhere near Gulf Freeway and 610 Loop. So I don't know if my wife walks by, I can ask her. So what kind of dogs do we have? And she'll tell me because she knows things. She knows a lot of things. She's she's on it. She's definitely on it. David, yeah, I like cats. I like cats a lot. I'm probably more of a cat person too, but my wife is allergic to cats. But I think cats are a different level of cool. But I also like the low maintenance involved with cats. So it could just be me being lazy. I feel like I didn't finish, but okay. So probably April 21st somewhere. If you're in Houston, uh, we'll have some kind of thing going on. 18 years. That's a long time. Dogs ruling, cats drool. Yeah. Here's a cool thing. Our cat takes care of the dogs. And the way the cat takes care of the dogs is the cat makes snacks for the dogs and leaves them in her litter box. And the dogs will root around in the litter box for snacks. So I just thought I'd share that. The last live we saw one dog. I thought Glenn could ask the dog himself what kind of dog. Okay, yeah, I could try that. He's a something doodle, like something in a poodle, right? I don't remember what, but anyway, killing me, Karen. All right, so what about some other questions? It's about time to wrap it up. It is what this is. It's it's the Friday before Easter. What is God? I know about this stuff. I do. I'm allergic to cats too, like your wife. I like them though. Yeah, my wife likes them too, and but yeah, it's a tough spot. If you can't see the grime in your black coffee mug, then it must not exist. Bingo! Isn't that great? It's awesome. Look, there's still some coffee in here, but if I could, if I finish it, I could show it to you. You won't be able to see any. All right, so right there, look at go that way. Look at that. That looks totally clean inside, right? Well, okay. There's a few chunks along the edge, but look at that. Pretty much totally clean inside. That's why the cup is so expensive, is because it's self cleaning. Okay. All right, kids. I enjoy the live too. I really appreciate the chance to interact with you guys. We got to do some stuff where we have some guests in on the live with, like a couple of windows going on screen at the same time where we can all interact with them. I want to do this thing with, I think I want to call it like Three Angry Moms, and it'll be a 4 window thing with 3 of our storytellers and me, and we'll call it Three Angry Moms, and the people in the chat can ask questions, and we'll have a specific topic. Like some of the ones that stand out to me are, uh, yeah, I wish Joe Rogan would invite me on too. I'd certainly be game for that. But he's in a good spot, and there's tons of people who want to be invited on to Joe Rogan. So yeah. So anyway, four windows, myself, and then 3 of our storytellers, like 3 mothers who talk about similar experiences involving something like how the police handled their loved one's case, or talking about how they were treated at a hospital, how they dealt with some stigma issue, or the whole counterfeit connection, or only victims that were still in their teens, or something like that. That we could have these. Thank you, Joan. Thank you. I appreciate that, David. Uh, we're getting there. We're reaching more and more people, uh, and I'm so grateful for you guys. And we're trying to find new kind of topics, new kind of stories that matter. There's a lot of stories out there that I suppose you could ultimately say that any story matters because people grow from it, and that's valid. But a story from someone who has survived human trafficking, or someone who's lost a loved one to fentanyl, or someone who has insight into dealing with mental health issues, stories like that have a social value that interviewing, I don't know, someone who likes to dress up like a basset hound just doesn't have. So yeah, I think the 3 angry moms, or sometimes it could be 3 angry dads, or it could be 3 angry parents. And the topics could be how law enforcement treated them, how there was not an investigation, how a hospital treated them. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank now, but it seems like there's quite a few in our stories. There is in quite a few of our stories, there is consistencies from story to story. There's 2 stories that I know of where a hospital released the loved one, discharged the loved one, and then they had a relapse when the naloxone wore off and they died. There's 2 that I know of for that. So anyway, it is time to wrap it up for now. We are going to be heading out to dinner soon somewhere, and I'm going to need to be ready for that, or they'll just go without me. Then I'd have to cook or something. Good Friday. Thank you. That's what I was trying to think of. Good Friday. All right. So again, I'm going to remind you guys that here's the ways to get in touch with us. You can find us by looking for us on Facebook. We're also on TikTok. You can email me anytime at info@texas-pictures.com, and you can also visit our website, texas-pictures.com. Please feel free to reach out anytime. Very grateful to all of you, and we will talk to you again next time. Thank you.